guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I have a haul and I'm going to show you some stuff that I received from a online website called SHOPHUSH.com, and they were kind enough to send me all this stuff. This video is not sponsored, but I just wanted to show you what they sent me because I'm really excited to try them out. SHOPHUSH is actually a website that sells a whole bunch of different products, makeup, accessories, stuff like that. They have a lot of known brands like Elf, Milani, I think NYX and stuff like that, but they also are very well known for their eyeshadow palettes because they are dupes for higher end makeup palettes. For example, this one is a dupe for the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette, and then I have a dupe for the Anastasia Nicole highlighting palette. There's just a whole bunch of cool stuff on that website, and we are going to swatch some of the palettes today and see how they compare to the high-end products. So I'm really excited to try these out. I've been holding and hoarding these things for a couple of months now, so I'm finally getting around to filming this video. So I'm just going to go ahead and start off with the eyeshadow palettes that I received. I have this Sugar palette by Facecandy, and this one is a dupe for the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette, which I do have. So packaging wise, they are pretty much the same size, same material. It's like a tin material, same color scheme. And when you open them up, I have the Too Faced one right here, and then the Sugar palette right here. So they're not exactly the same, but they are like 99% close, and I will do a couple of swatches just to show you how pigmented the Sugar one is. I have on the top Pistachio by the Sugar palette, and then the bottom is Bless Her Heart from the Too Faced palette. And as you can see, the Pistachio one is a little powdery. If I blend it out, it'll probably look a little bit better. But the Too Faced one actually isn't as pigmented, as you can tell. Next up, I have Blueberry Pie from the Sugar palette. There's that swatch. And then I have Talk Derby to Me from Too Faced. And then again, you can see the Sugar one is a lot more pigmented than the Too Faced one. So far, I'm really impressed with the Sugar palette. If you don't want to spend over $50 for this palette, then definitely check this one out because I think they're pretty much the same, if not better. So the next dupe I have to show you guys is the Bad Habit Royals palette. This one is supposed to be a dupe for the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. So packaging wise, they are not similar whatsoever. So on the top, I have the Royals palette by Bad Habit, and then I have the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. So these ones are actually almost 100% similar, I would say, except the Royals one has a bigger pan. Okay, so first from the Bad Habit Royals palette, I'm swatching Majestic, which looks like that. And then the dupe for that one from the Anastasia palette is Love Letter. So the Anastasia one actually looks a little bit more powdery than the Royals palette, as you can see. They're not quite the same exact color. I would say the first swatch looks a little bit more pinky, while the other one looks more of a magenta color. Okay, and then next from the Royals palette, I'll be swatching Crown, which is a really pretty gold. And then underneath that, I'll be swatching Primavera from the Anastasia palette. So again, they look very similar, but they're not completely the same. I would say the Royals one is a tad bit more gold, while the other one is more champagne. And the Royals one actually looks more powdery in this one. I don't know if you guys can really see that, but all in all, they're both very pigmented. I would say, again, if you don't want to spend the money on the higher end palette, just get this one. It's pretty much the same thing. You can pretty much make the same exact looks. So these next couple of eyeshadow palettes I actually don't have the dupes for. This first one is called the Inferno palette by Bad Habit. Packaging is really pretty. It's like this ombre kind of sunset look to it, and kind of has the same kind of material as the other one. But this one is supposed to be a dupe for the Naked Heat palette, or I think the Toasted palette by Tarte. Not quite sure because I don't have the dupe for it, but as you can see, It's a really pretty neutral palette, really great for fall. I love the colors, and this one's totally like my palette that I would wear. So I got them on my fingers. And those are the shades. So far, I'm really liking all of these palettes so far. I'm very surprised and impressed because this is my first time actually sitting down and swatching a ton of the shades. I've been like saving this video for a long time, so I haven't had the time to go through each palette. But so far I'm really impressed. So this one I think I'm most excited for. This is the Retro Love palette by Bad Habit, and this is supposed to be a dupe for the Anastasia Subculture palette. Everybody was talking good and bad stuff about it, but from my point of view I saw mostly bad reviews on it, which is why I decided not to pick it up. Because usually if I'm picking up a $40 to $50 palette, I want it to be like really good. So this is what the palette looks like. And the reason why I actually did want to try it out is because the colors are very unique. It's not like your average neutral palette. There's a lot of like pops of color. If you usually wear a lot of neutral colors, then this will kind of like get you out of your comfort zone a little bit. So let's swatch some right now. Okay. Oh my god, look at that color. Babe, isn't it pigmented? So this color is called Revolution. This is Icon, and then this one is Mod. So Mod is actually kind of patchy. I don't know if you guys can really tell. But these two colors on the other hand are perfect. Like, they're very pigmented, very pretty. This one's really unique. It's kind of like a lime green, champagne-y color, but this one is like, wow. So I have the Bad Habit Aphrodite palette, and this one I think is one of their most popular or best sellers. So it looks like this, and this is supposed to be a dupe for the Huda Beauty Rose Gold palette. And this is what it looks like. I've used it a couple times already, as you can tell, but I really love this palette. It's probably my favorite one so far. So just like the Subculture palette, the Huda Beauty had so-and-so reviews. Some are good, some are bad, and it's a $65 palette, so I did not want to pay that much for a palette that had a ton of bad reviews. So I was really excited to get this, and I'll do a couple swatches of the glitter ones for you. So I have Adore, and then I have Crush, and then I'll do a matte one. This one is Blushing. It's kind of like a pinky orange color. Obviously the glitter ones are going to be a little bit powdery. That's just how these type of eyeshadows are. They're kind of gritty because they're glitter eyeshadows. And then the first one isn't as pigmented as I would want it to be. But again, I think this palette is, I want to say $16. I could be wrong, but still is very affordable. And I do believe they came out with a Athena palette, which is a dupe for the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. So if you don't want to spend $65, check this one out. And last, for the eyeshadow palettes, I have this Beauty Creations Butterfly palette, and this is one of the products that I chose myself, and I mostly got it because I thought the packaging was pretty cute, and plus I've heard of this brand from BoxyCharm, I believe. It's called Beauty Creations, and this is just a very nice, like, cool toned palette. Right, so the matte one isn't too pigmented, but again, the shimmers are really nice. So I think with all these palettes, they're all really great, but I feel like the mattes aren't up, I want to say like up to par with high end. They're still really good, and you could still make it work with the right brush and right technique and everything, but not really a deal breaker for me. I think the palettes are still really great, and you could still make up a lot of looks with it, so you just have to try and make it work. Moving on to face palette. So the first one I have is the Rosé highlighter palette, and this one is supposed to be a dupe for the Anastasia Nicole Guerrero palette. So I opened this up a little bit earlier, and I saw that they aren't exactly the same color, but they are very similar in packaging. As you can tell, they are pretty much kind of like the same color scheme of pink, except the Nicole one is shimmery and shiny while the other one is matte. So on the top I have Anastasia, and then I have the Bad Habit Rosé and as you can tell, they're not exactly the same. The Anastasia one kind of has like this bluish one called Forever Lit, and this one doesn't really have a blue highlighter. This one would come the closest, I believe. It's called Shine, but it's more of like a white highlighter rather than a blue, so not the exact same. The first one from the Anastasia one is called Glow Getter, and then I'll be comparing that to Bubbly from the Bad Habit palette. I would say they're about the same in pigmentation. Again, they're not quite the same color, but they're both very good quality. And then I'm going to take Daydream from Anastasia, and then I'm going to take Pinkies Up from Bad Habit. It's kind of a weird swatch right there. It's that one, and there's Anastasia, and there's Bad Habit. Kind of a weird swatch, I'm sorry, but I have another highlighter palette. This is called the Oasis highlighting kit from Bad Habit. Packaging is so cute, very trendy. So this one I don't really have a dupe for. I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be compared to the Anastasia Glow kits, and I do have one, but they're not quite the same colors on the inside. So this one looks like this. It has pretty neutral highlighters and a very pink one. And the Anastasia one that I have is called Sun Dipped. Wait, is this? No, it's called That Glow. And they're not quite the same, but packaging wise, they are pretty much similar. From the Bad Habit one, I'll be swatching Nude Beach. Looks like this. And then from the Anastasia one, I'll be swatching Sunburst. Like that. Nude Beast does look a little bit powdery, and then the Anastasia one looks like perfect. Really, like, you are paying $10 for this compared to, I think this is $30 or $40, so you are getting what you pay for pretty much. Well, not actually, because these I think are very, very good quality for $10, so it's really up to you, whatever you want to spend. If you are on a budget and don't want to spend that much on high quality or high-end stuff, then just go to SHOPHUSH, because they seriously have the best dupes. I have the Facecandy Unicorn Glow highlighter palette, and this packaging is really, really cool. It's holographic, and this one I think is supposed to be compared to the Aurora palette by Anastasia, which I do not have, but I do have the Anastasia Moonchild palette. And then this one is the Anastasia. Oh no. I just nicked it. Okay, whatever. First, from the Anastasia palette, I'll be swatching Lucky Clover, which is a pretty green highlighter. And then underneath, I'll be swatching Wonder from the Facecandy palette. Oh, that didn't go too well. Okay, it's a little bit better. So as you can tell, the Anastasia one again looks very, very good, but this one on the other hand kind of took a little bit. It looks very powdery. I don't know if you guys can really tell by that swatch, but it is really powdery. Let's do another one. Stardust from the Facecandy palette. Let's do it right here. There's Stardust. And then I'll do Blue Ice underneath that right here. So again, the Facecandy one looks very powdery, if you can tell from over there, whereas the Anastasia one kind of just blended into my skin really well. So for this one, I would say Anastasia definitely beat the Facecandy one. Again, it's not super terrible quality. It's still very pigmented, just not as good as the Anastasia one. So those were all the palettes that I received, but I did also get 2 of these highlighters from J.Cat. I remember J.Cat being a brand that used to be in Ipsy bags, because I know when Ipsy first came out, I did subscribe to their little bag that they had, and I did receive some stuff from J.Cat. So these are called the You Glow Girl Baked Highlighters, and I got 2 of them. So this first one is called White Goddess, and right off the bat, like, you can tell how pigmented it is. Let's hope it's not too chalky though. Very, very pretty. It's kind of like a white gold. I got Crystal Sand, which is kind of more of like a white highlighter. And that one's very pretty as well. Very pigmented. I can tell these are going to blend into my skin nicely. So that's everything that I have to show you guys. I hope you enjoyed. Definitely go check out SHOPHUSH because they have some really cool stuff and I definitely will be repurchasing from them. I do have a discount code. Their stuff is already super affordable, but if you want to save even more money, then I'll put my discount code down below. So again, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!